Greetings, viewers of the Antichrist magazine. Thank you for inviting me to participate. My name is Andrew, and I'm the sole creator and performer and recorder of the band Fetal Sewage, among a few others. I've done some other stuff, throughout the years. Fetal Sewage started by myself, Andrew. I initially had a band called Extinction Vitae that was signed to a record called Wickedness. I also participated in a band called ODR, same label, that label, or merch, it's kind of both, they're defunct and they're no longer around. I think they might be something else. I'm not too sure on that. But anyways, yeah, I write and record everything, that's Fetal Sewage, Also, EV had some session stuff or whatever, but yeah, I write and record everything myself. I've had a few session people help in, with like bass, and some guest parts, but everything is, recorded and written by me. I'm the sole creator, and musical contributor to all of that. I've had, session musicians or whatever, do stuff for me live, but, that's for live, they have no influence on the creative process, as far as, writing and doing all of that, but, yeah, we've been around since 2019, and it's been quite the ride, and we're hoping for more, not really doing the live thing anymore, but we're still totally at it, man. But yeah, we've put out 2 demos. Both of them are called Dahmer's Kitchen. And we put out 3 EPs. One's called Butchering the Dead. One's called Dominating Putrefaction. The other one's called Dahmer's Kitchen. So yeah, there's 3 Dahmer's Kitchens. It's kind of a bit of an issue, but there won't be another one, but yeah, there's 3 Dahmer's Kitchens. The official one, they're all official, but the actual EP one is the one from 2022. And yeah, we're located from Southern California in the Inland Empire. The meaning of a band name, I get that one asked a lot, The story behind the band name comes from the original backstory of how this band came to be, Wickedness, the old label which I mentioned earlier. They wanted a death metal band, and the original name was called Infant Eater, which I thought was pretty fucking generic, in my opinion, so I came up with something, a bit more crude, a bit more brutal, Brutal! It's called Fetal Sewage, and yeah, let me look at my notes really quick. Yeah, so Infant Eater was super mundane and generic. So Fetal Sewage was an alternative, and thus it began. The meaning, in my opinion, some may have other opinions on what it is. I think it's just a satirical and ironic labeling of us humans. Us human beings. One could see it as a rotten, decayed abortion, but I think it's just a more satirical depiction of mammalia and other, Anthropocene life, us humans, And yeah, it is extreme metal after all, so it is cruel and crude and, pretty brutal, pretty pessimistic. But it's all about irony, having a message, I guess. So, yeah. About vengeful predation, vengeful predation refers to the animalia preying on each other. This is in the wild, survival of the fittest and all that. It kind of, for revenge's part, refers to the grudges we hold against, people and external metaphysical items, society. It's a concept album, and it revolves around, Nietzschean ideas, and overcoming, hypocrisy in society, reversal of rules, reverse psychology, but it's a very misanthropic escalation of things. A lot of broad topics. But this album, is a lot about the similar stuff that was on Butchering the Dead, which was more highly critical of religion and humans and society. But that didn't really contain any gore lyrics. This one kind of contains gore lyrics, but it's more of a ironic way of having it. To shed those stereotypes and those tropes. That you see in like brutal death metal or whatever, or grindcore. We don't really do any of that, like more misogynist or whatever stuff. We don't really do that here. I mean, with a song like Face Fucking Sodomy, you think it's about that, but that's not what it's about. It's just a brutal name. But, yeah, it's a more technical album. It has a lot more experimental parts. There's this guy called Ozzy Malin, who is a friend of ours, and he does a lot of ambiences on this track, throughout, and yeah, very different. We don't really listen to. Well, I don't listen to any other bands. I have bandmates, who are part of the live stuff. Who are very connected to the scene, and maybe I was connected to the scene, a while ago, But I just don't like being influenced. It's not some ego thing. It's just I have my own thing going on, But yeah, that's about vengeful predation, and the production, is it's a bit more raw, but I really just saw this album, as a stepping stone to the one that's coming after, Vengeful Predation. Lyrically, this album, I mentioned, it's similar to, Butchering the Dead, if anyone paid attention to all that growling. But yeah, a song like Gallery of Obscene, it talks about violence in sex in media and perversion unleashed. It talks about overpopulation and the idea of karmic humility and selfishness of the individual and themselves, putting their own needs above their contemporaries, so a bit of, karmic humility. So, yeah, and Fuck to Death takes the stereotypes of brutal death metal and reverses it around, as I was mentioning earlier, brutal death metal and grindcore kind of have, a lot of, like, serial killer stuff that targets women, and we're not about that. I'm not about that. So, we kind of reverse the roles, to get people thinking, and maybe question, that kind of sentiment in extreme metal, but also, still being just as brutal, and yeah, it's all shock value, I'm a rather pessimistic person, but, I'm happy most of the time, As far as, Mortark Productions, Mortark Productions is my own little thing, It's mainly a studio and production label, and yeah, it's just kind of sad as that, I've done stuff for, EV, the Fleshman Engorgement, I did stuff for Butchering, it's not Butchering, Brutally Butchered, they're from the AV, and I also did some stuff with this band called Machete Funeral. However, outside of production, and just like recording and producing shit, for myself and other bullshit, I wanted to venture in, some film and documentary stuff just for fun, Not sure what that will be, but we'll see, And my first interest in metal music, playing Doom, I mean, I have, a Doom tattoo, here. It's the icon of sin. A lot of the songs, that were on like the MIDI files, like the MIDI versions of, because Doom 93, used MIDI music, it was kind of ripped off of, Metallica, Slayer. Slayer's my favorite of that, but especially like all that kind of stuff, it kind of got me into it, I've been doing music, for a very long time, since about 8 years old, but that was more classical stuff, like piano. I played a lot of piano, and then haven't done that really. It kind of sticked around, somewhat, but also, I did band percussion, band instruments, and all that. But yeah, and then guitar, that's been around 7 years, But knowing music theory and being classically trained, really helped progress that. And I do vocals. I've been doing vocals for a long time. And I actually think my vocals are my favorite part of, my music and just all that stuff for Fetal Sewage. Uh, as far as obstacles, face, with doing this band thing, I'm a straight edge person, and just working in the metal scene when I was, doing live stuff, I kind of noticed like a darker side of, the music industry, and what did I write here? Yeah, just like a major connection with drug and alcohol culture, which moderation, but that's not me, But yeah, I feel like that's kind of a big issue, with the scene. Maybe other than like elitism to an extent, which I get. I get why people are like that, but it's not going to keep the genre of extreme metal around for long, if you endlessly gatekeep and push new people away. That's how a genre of music becomes irrelevant, But the black metal guys, I like black metal too, Uh, maybe that's the best for them, because it's pretty fucking extreme, And but we're talking about like just metal overall. Uh, but yeah, just a lot of putting that over the music, and I mean, like drinking beer and all that, it's fine if people do that, but you need to, put your music first, because this is an art form, and if you aren't putting the art form as a primary number one objective, it's going to, make the whole thing fall apart. So, yeah, on to, oh yes, the cover art. So, in my opinion, that kind of represents, Jesus Christ being beheaded and on a throne of the worms, which are ironically human looking. And, it's called vengeful predation, because it's kind of like this huge resentment and this cycle of violence, and I kind of depict it as a representation of what goes on in the world, but also, this album was kind of inspired by a major breakup of someone in my life previously. So that had some influence too with it, but as far as the cover goes, it kind of just depicts, the savior of humanity. If you ask the Christians what their savior are or is, and it kind of defaces that, but also shows the rest of us without any hope, just kind of endlessly slaughtering each other. And then the whatchamacallit, the birds, are just kind of picking everyone out, and also picking at the wounds of Christ, or what is seen as Christ. I kind of view it as Christ, but it's not explicitly shown. But I didn't do the art, but that's how I envision it. But that aside, that's kind of that. And as far as what I do outside of music, I'm a full-time bio student. I like traveling. I am a vegetarian. I'm straight edge, and I just enjoy all of that, and I also enjoy, being around animals, going on walks, seeing nature. I'm a huge nature person. I'm not outside of music. I'm not a technology person. I'm kind of anti-technology and social media. But yeah, I'm just kind of, a very isolated kind of not shy, just kind of like doing my own thing, you know, and my girlfriend puts up with me. Specific non-metal genre artist, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. I love the Downward Spiral. I think it's a great fucking album, and I see him as an influence because I also do sound design stuff. I think I work with that Malin Malzika. I don't know who that is, but might be a connection. But yeah, as far as the evolution of death metal goes, you know, I think it's very interesting. You know, I mean, I'm a young guy, you know, but just you know, from being alive, you know, I've seen you know stuff progress, you know, and trends come and go, you know, and I think things are more progressive, more technical. A lot more is on the songwriting, but also at the same time, you know, there's a resurgence of dumbed down death metal. So it's very interesting. You know, you kind of got something for everyone, you know, and yeah, you know, there's a lot of different stuff to listen to nowadays. And the rapid fire section, guitar shredding or blast beats. I prefer guitar shredding. I love playing guitar, and I also love sweep picking. I'm kind of a fiend for sweep picking. You know, sweep picking. Sorry, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's my drug. You know. But favorite live band, Belphegor, hands down. Moshing or crowd surfing. I kind of don't care about either of those. You know, it's cool when I did do live stuff when people would crowd surf to your music or you know fight people or whatever. Not fight, you know, but like mosh. You know, that's cool. But whenever you know I did music, you know, live, people would like fucking fight and like, kill each other. You know, uh, which don't do that. You know, I don't want to be liable. But it's kind of cool. You know, it's metal. You know, it's death metal. Uh, guilty pleasure song that's not metal. Uh, Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique. Not a fan of the politics, but great song. And yeah, you know, I'm Fetal Sewage, I'm Andrew, you know, and you can check us out on Spotify and all of our streaming platforms. And we have a big cartel, and we also have our music out everywhere else.